Tonight on CFTK-TV News, a justice movement begins on Haida Gwaii and crosses the Northwest. The town of Smithers approves a new logo and branding, and a precursor to the first Skeena Valley Farmers Market of the year.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, April 30th, 2025. I'm Jaylene Matthews. We begin tonight with our news local to the Northwest. A movement has spread across the Northwest in support of the man who lost his life on Haida Gwaii in what police believe was a targeted attack. Take a look. The Council of the Haida Nation has identified the man killed as Luke Pearson and described him as a kind, generous, caring, and innocent Haida man. There are reports that the family of the man accused harbored him before his arrest. Now, video on social media shows that family being driven out of Skidegate by an uprising of Haida people before the homes they had lived in were promptly demolished.
Out of the way, and we're gonna get going.
People of Haida Gwaii lined the streets in support and also drummed the family out on the ferry. But it didn't stop there. Rupert to Terrace, Kitwanga, Burns Lake, and in between, folks lined the highway at checkpoints and supervised the convoy of vehicles. People carried signs, many of which depicted justice for Luke and other slogans. The Council of the Haida Nation has said in a statement that the family, the Council of the Haida Nation, and Skidegate Band Council are in full support of the major crime unit investigation taking place. It's not clear how far the movement will go, but there are reports it's headed for Prince George. In our conversation with the MP-elect for Skeena-Balkley Valley, Ellis Ross said one of the most prominent points that came up when he was door knocking was affordability.
Mostly what I heard in the doors was affordability. Affordability and drugs, basically. And we know it, young people can't afford a house, right? And the jobs aren't there, especially in our smaller communities. Forestry has gone down because of lack of supply. Mining in the northern areas haven't gotten their permits. So a lot of these communities up along the highway there that depend on those resource jobs are actually suffering, and they were hoping for a government that could actually get the economy going. You know, given the assets that we have here in the Northwest, we could have contributed a lot to Canada's diversification of trade globally.
We asked Ross if he thought he'd still be able to get much done for the region in a Liberal minority government.
I'm not sure. Not with Bill C-69. There was talk that this government, this Liberal government, actually didn't really support pipelines, for example, inside Canada. And we didn't really see a plan except for counter tariffs and some type of negotiation with the United States. And we didn't really hear about diversification. Either way, Canada, you can't be so dependent on the United States or else this is going to happen again. I mean, 98% of all oil gets piped down to the United States, either for their own domestic purposes or for export. Our natural gas in BC, a lot of people don't know it, but all our natural gas basically goes across our borders to the United States and elsewhere. It doesn't go overseas to Asia, not yet. We'll have to wait and see what Canada says about phase 2 of LNG Canada, what the government does. Because the BC government actually just loosened their restrictions on LNG Canada phase 2 just a few weeks ago. They basically said that, okay, LNG Canada phase 2 doesn't have to be net zero, it has to be net zero ready. So they're basically putting it into the federal government's ball court now to see what happens there. So we're still not out of the woods in terms of exporting LNG to Asia and different parts of the world.
This weekend, a beloved market in Terrace that begins in the spring and lasts until the later days of fall will kick off its 2025 run. CFTK-TV's Kale Maslin has more.
This upcoming Saturday is set to see the Skeena Valley Farmers Market in Terrace open up for the first time this year. And the excitement to begin another season is quite present for the people in charge of putting it all together.
We look forward to seeing everyone coming down to the Skeena Valley Farmers Market May 3rd. We open at 9 o'clock. We're always happy to see farmers coming from further east, folks that are bringing in meat, vegetables from Kitwanga area, even the farmers around here that have lots of garlic and seasonal vegetables. It's really exciting to see all the different local foods that people are producing and harvesting here throughout the year.
Part of that excitement also stems from the fact that a vendor who initially debuted last year is set to become a regular fixture at this year's marketplace, and that vendor is a landscaping and garden company known as Skeena Greens.
So we just got accepted to be a seasonal vendor. We were just a drop-in vendor last year, and we felt really welcomed, and it was a lot of fun.
We're really excited to have them here. They really fitted in well last year, and yeah, we're stoked to have them as a seasonal vendor.
Skeena Greens started selling here last year and then expressed an interest in becoming a seasonal vendor, which means that they'll have the same spot every week. And certainly as producers, as farmers, they are prioritized for spots here at the market. So we're very happy to see Skeena Greens express an interest in becoming a seasonal vendor, and we look forward to having them for a good portion of the season this year.
We're going to be selling our plant starts, some of our new herb growing kits, and some compost teas that we came up with a recipe for, and also our microgreens.
But since this Saturday will be the first edition of the Farmers Market in 2025, it is going to be kicked off in grand fashion with an opening ceremony.
We'll have a welcoming from an Indigenous elder, and we'll also have some comments from the Mayor of Terrace, and we look forward to having the Terrace Pipe and Drum Band come and perform and march up and down Market Street here as well. And like every week at the market, we do have live music here on the stage. So there's one artist from 9 till 11 a.m. and another artist from 11 until 1.
The market is set to run every Saturday up until the last Saturday of October, and the time frame that it will be open on those weekends is from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Kale Maslin.
At their regular council meeting last night, the town of Smithers came to a decision that will impact how they present themselves going forwards. Council voted to adopt a refreshment of their brand standards, which includes a brand new logo for the town and is intended to help Smithers both modernize its communications as well as strengthen its visual identity. The refreshed visual identity features a new logo inspired by the natural surroundings, incorporating stylized representations of mountain peaks, a flowing river, a steelhead trout, and a rising sun. The city says these elements symbolize the town's diverse landscapes, recreational opportunities, and vibrant community spirit. Updates to the brand include a modernized logo designed for both print and digital applications, additional earth-toned colors added to the existing palette, and refreshed typography for improved accessibility and clarity. This idea for new branding came about in the Smithers Economic Development Plan and will result in all of the town's digital platforms transitioning to the new look. As for updates to the physical items like signage and municipal assets, those are set to be made in a more gradual manner so that the costs can be managed as effectively as possible. Coming up next, more details from the Lapu Lapu attack. In the aftermath of the Lapu Lapu Festival attack, we are learning more about both the victims and the perpetrator. Here's CTV's Andrew Johnson.
Vancouver first responders are among the mourners near the scene they raced to Saturday trying to save lives.
I think about all the people that stepped up to help, the heroism of the people when we arrived on scene that were performing first aid, CPR, to try and do what they can.
11 people were killed, the youngest just 5 years old. A 22-month-old toddler remains in hospital in serious condition. Among newly identified victims, 3 members of a Colombian family who immigrated to Canada to find a better life and volunteered with a local Latin community group.
A lot of our volunteers are in shock right now.
We are also learning more about Kaiji Adam Lowe, the SUV driver accused of mass murder. Health officials now confirm the state of Lowe's mental health had previously required involuntary hospitalization. The health authority says at the time of the attack, Lowe was on leave from the hospital, adding in a statement, Extended leave is intended to help clients maintain their treatment plans while transitioning back to community for ongoing support. In this situation, the care team followed established guidelines for a client on extended leave, and there was no indication this person was not following their treatment plan or presented a public safety risk. BC's opposition Conservatives are calling for answers.
The system failed, and people were killed.
The Premier says he has questions of his own.
The number one priority is ensuring justice for the Filipino community. And I just want to assure British Columbians that if the criminal process is not able to surface these issues and answer these questions that we have, that we will call a full public inquiry.
But for now, EB says it's still too soon to draw conclusions on what could have stopped an accused killer. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Turning to the weather, today's moon phase is a waxing crescent at 12% illumination. The sun rose at 5:54 a.m. this morning and sets at 9:08 p.m. tonight. Tonight on the north coast, it's looking cloudy. Periods of rain beginning after midnight. Winds from the southeast at 20 kilometers an hour after midnight. Temperature steady near 10 degrees. Over the next few days on the north coast, expect mainly rain with some wind on Thursday, sun and clouds on Saturday, daily temperatures sitting between 9 and 11 degrees, overnight lows in the 6 to 10 degree range. Tonight in the Terrace-Kitimat area, it's looking partly cloudy, becoming cloudier near midnight, a 30% chance of showers overnight. Winds from the south at 20 kilometers an hour, becoming lighter this evening and a low of 7 degrees. Over the next few days in the Terrace-Kitimat area, it'll be mainly cloudy with some showers in there as well. Daily temperatures in the 12 to 18 degree range, overnight lows in the 4 to 12 degree range. In the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, tonight it's looking partly cloudy, winds up to 15 kilometers an hour and a low of -2, wind chill -4 overnight. Over the next few days in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, expect a mix of sun and clouds, daily temperatures in the 12 to 20 degree range, and overnight lows sitting between 0 and 5 degrees. Checking your highways in the northwest now. On Highway 16, there's bridge maintenance and repairs. Watch for utility work, industrial traffic, pothole repair, and road sweeping. On Highway 37, there's road sweeping as well as industrial traffic. Highway 37A, watch for falling rocks. On Telegraph Creek Road, there are muddy sections and the rest area is closed at Burnt Trailer Tanzilla access. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, one province voices election disappointment. The election results apparently weren't favorable for everyone, and some have even been quite outspoken about it. Here's CTV's Tim Brush.
As Mark Carney takes a minority red government to Ottawa, across the map, some are feeling blue.
Albertans are hurt and betrayed. That's how I think Albertans are feeling.
Premier Danielle Smith was pulling for a Conservative clean sweep, and she almost got it in Alberta. Here, 34 of 37 possible seats went to Pierre Poilievre's team. But when all is said and done nationally, it won't be Poilievre. Smith will be pitching her energy and equalization ideas too.
We want to be able to have Alberta sovereignty within a united Canada. But we also would like to see Team Canada be on Team Alberta for once.
Some insist that's no longer possible.
This is now a completely abusive relationship. And our only alternative, mediation has failed. And so our only alternative is to now file for a divorce from Canada.
Led by a former UCP operative, the Republican Party of Alberta is pushing for a way out.
Alberta needs a binding independence referendum. It needs to set the boundaries clear with the rest of Canada. That Confederation is broken. It isn't working.
Experts have almost unanimously laughed off the chance of the province separating, but the chance of holding a public vote is improving. An act tabled Tuesday will soon make it easier for Albertans to bring forward referendum ideas by lowering the number of petitioner signatures needed.
If citizens want to put a question on a ballot and get enough of their fellow citizens to sign that petition, then those questions will be put forward.
And it's one of those things that you're forced to take seriously, but you also have to watch how seriously you actually take it, in the sense that it's still a minority voice.
And that minority isn't as big as it appears. Alberta will have 92% of its ridings represented by Conservatives, but the party only grabbed 64% of the provincial votes.
I'm not for separation, and I don't think the majority of Albertans are either.
I don't think that this election is going to have an impact on sovereignty.
It saddens me when to hear that some Albertans think that that's a good thing.
If you're going to flirt with separatism, call a referendum. Just do it, and let's see what Albertans have to say.
Tim Brooke, CTV News.
The federal election brought with it some big changes to the political scene. CTV's Penny Daflos gives us a recap.
Mark Carney wasn't shy about celebrating his election night victory after making this promise to Canadians.
No matter how you voted, I will always do my best to represent everyone who calls Canada home.
His candidates in Vancouver savored their wins.
Those numbers are looking good to me.
And also shared some happy tears. Rookie candidate Wade Chang unseated NDP leader Jagmeet Singh in Burnaby.
This is unbelievable. Yeah, it's been a very tough 5 weeks with very limited resources, with very limited funding. We made it.
In contrast, Hedy Fry has won her 12th consecutive election, unlike any she's run before.
What was difficult about this campaign? It was mean and it was nasty.
I think the frustration that we heard was about making sure that we actually focused on the country and on voters rather than on petty politics.
There's speculation star candidate Gregor Robertson could land a key cabinet post after easily winning his seat.
I will serve in whatever ways I'm asked to serve.
After serving as an NDP MLA and as Vancouver's mayor, he's ready for the national stage.
I think we can give a lot back to the world and really strengthen our country right now. That's an exciting generational opportunity for us to be bold and be Canadian.
Liberals and Conservatives stole 5 of 6 NDP seats on Vancouver Island, with Victoria going red for the first time in nearly 20 years.
We have concerns around housing and affordability.
And Conservative MPs once again representing the island.
Powell River is a very long way from Ottawa, and I've got a bit of a megaphone, so I want to use it to make sure the voices of my constituents are being heard and their concerns are being addressed.
Canada-wide, the Conservatives saw their biggest ever popular vote share, even though it was a bittersweet victory for their leader.
To the millions of people who voted for the Conservative Party and put their hopes and dreams in our vision, thank you.
After holding it for 20 years, Pierre Poilievre lost his seat in Ottawa, but says he isn't going anywhere.
Our Conservative caucus and I will be holding the government to account on behalf of the millions of Canadians who believed in the message of change.
Whether you're disappointed or pleased with the results, this is democracy in action.
I expect that everybody comes to Ottawa with a good intent. Like, whether you're a Conservative, you're a Liberal, you're a New Democrat, you're a Green, you actually run because you actually think you have something to contribute.
Penny Daflos, CTV News.
Turning to the markets now, Canada's main stock index closed down today, while U.S. markets were mixed as first quarter economic data showed signs of weakness on both sides of the border. The Canadian dollar rose about 0.1 cent. The price of gold dropped $14.50. Oil dropped $2.21. Natural gas dropped by 6 cents. Aluminum rose $31.50. In Toronto, the TSX dropped almost 33 points. The Venture Index fell 1 point. In New York, the Dow Jones rose almost 142 points, and the Nasdaq dropped almost 15. still ahead, an old challenge is having a resurgence.
TV Tulagak was keen to vote in his first federal election, but his excitement was quickly quashed when he went to the polling station in his northern Quebec community of Iviu-Hivik, only to find it was closed.
I was frustrating, I was sad.
Tulagak says he heard from the town's mayor that the election workers had arrived in the community but quickly left without any votes being cast.
This is not right. This is, they took our votes away. And this is illegal.
Kativik Regional Government's chairperson Hilda Snowball confirmed to CTV News that many residents in the surrounding Nunavut region were unable to vote. I was shocked and unsettled about the news regarding the early closing of polling stations, she said in a statement. I was outraged to hear that some were not open at all. The Makivik Corporation, which represents Inuit in Nunavut, is calling for Elections Canada to investigate, calling the situation, quote, unacceptable. Despite more than 68% voter turnout across the country, ballot numbers in Canada's north fell well below the national average. The riding of Churchill-Kiiwetinokaski in northern Manitoba, for example, only saw about 43% of eligible voters in that region cast their ballots.
There is a long history of Inuit people being having uneven access to being able to cast their ballot.
Tulagak says this never should have happened.
That was unacceptable, unfair election. They should be given 12 hours or at least 10.
A source with Elections Canada had told CTV News that it was difficult to get workers and materials to some communities because of weather. We reached out to Elections Canada to get an update on the situation, but didn't receive a response back.
A new challenge is sweeping across social media in Canada, but some might recognize it as an old trend. Here's CTV's Paul Hollingsworth.
It's a frigid blast from the past, and it's going viral on social media.
I nominate Ice Bath Brandon, Chill Dad, and Mr. Beast. You have 24 hours to respond.
The Ice Bucket Challenge was first launched in 2014, supporting ALS, a neurological disorder that affects muscle control. Now, the Speak Your Mind Ice Bucket Challenge supports mental health, and many are soaking it in.
It's an opportunity and a platform to bring more awareness to mental health issues.
The Ice Bucket Challenge resurgence started at the University of South Carolina. It's now making a splash in Canada. Halifax Hoopers pro basketball player Akeem Clark has lived with mental health struggles in earlier chapters of his life. Clark says the challenge is a fun and meaningful gesture that shows his fans and friends care about his well-being.
Everyone's coming together to do this activity to show support to something that's a problem that's going on in our communities.
What we really want is more people and more people to get comfortable with the idea that it's okay to not be okay and that help is available.
Donations are welcome, but this latest version of the Ice Bucket Challenge is mostly focused on promoting mental health awareness, so people know they're not alone. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
That's our news for now. Thanks for watching.